Hi. Something about coming into the temple gives me an involuntary laugh. Happy to be involved with the Dharma. I do the mystery and awakening. There's a koan that comes very early in the curriculum. I've talked about before, but I want to talk about it again because it got stuck in my mind. And it's "Stop the sound of the distant temple bell." And it's a sort of familiar koan to anybody who's done any levels of Zen. That sound. and it's distant, so you can't just reach out and stop it or something like that. So you're immediately entering the mystery and the incomprehensibility of life with this koan, which is kind of a nice thing. So it's somewhat well known that in Zen, when you begin to open up a bit, Zen doesn't say, "That's nice, dear, why don't you just run off and be with your enlightenment?" Zen says, "Can you answer these questions?" Prove it. And you say, "Oh my God." But actually, it's exciting. It's an exciting thing. So rather than intimidating, it's a marvelous thing. And so, anyway, I remember I was very excited. I thought, I didn't know there was a way of exploring the transformed consciousness, which is what these koans are. And so, and you can use them different ways. The temple, here's a great, this is Denise Fujiwara, the wonderful choreographer and dancer who's part of our community. And she said a thing saying, "I enjoyed session immensely." And she was working with the temple bell. And she said, it was a real jolt to leave Santa Rosa and do tour marketing meetings because she's got this choreography company she's got to get people to hire. I introduced my work to the presenter at Portland and she was not receptive. And so after that, I was suddenly filled with doubts. Bong, the sound of the temple bell, bong. So she was using it like that, bong. It just came to her, abolishing all other thoughts. Then there were thoughts of self-doubt, thoughts I was a fraud, bong. Thoughts that sound like my second thoughts, and so on, bong. So, and so I just let the sound of the bell fill me and continued on to Vancouver and met two different presenters who were charmed by my work. Bong, bong. So it was rather wonderful. And my next thought was, "Hey, I'm pretty good at this." Bong. So she, so that, she, and that's the way you use this is a legitimate and common way to use a koan. Like the koan "no" would be the classic one, where no matter what appears, you just say no. It could be wonderful, it could be terrible, you just say no. In this case, you say bong, bong. And the bell is me creating bong. I am the bell ringer, the resonance of the bell, the receiver of the sound. I am here now, bong. She said, "Cheers, bong." So I don't know, this sort of floated to the surface of my desk this morning, which was really nice. And so just for a minute, the temple bell, is one of those bell sounds you get if you're in places with bells, cathedrals or Kyoto or somewhere. And you just hear the bong and it fills everything. And you realize, oh, everything that exists fills me completely. Bong. So just for a minute, be with the bong, bong. And it silences everything that fills you. I remember being given this, I guess it was raining a lot, and I remember just sitting with this, and then I went into my teacher and said, I can stop the sound. I grabbed an imaginary bell, and his way of ending the interview was to ring a very small bell that he had beside him all the time. And so he rang the bell, and I left and thought, that can't be it. And I'm really not immersed in the situation. So the thing about a bell is, you'll notice it takes you over, it immerses you, you become the bell. So there's that. And there are certain sort of in meditation, I feel blessed when I'm meditating. This may be corny, but but it's true. And I have this sort of thing that happens to me a lot, where I wake up in the middle of the night and I don't really feel like going back to sleep, and I have a friend who actually just turns on the YouTube or something at that time, but I don't know, that doesn't seem true to me. So I just sort of get up, and I have a zafu by my bed, and I put on a blanket or something, and I go sit with it. And as I sit down, this indescribable happiness fills me. And anything in the universe can fill you with happiness, really, right? And so, bong, happiness. And happiness is not something you've added to life. It's just something that's there and you happen to notice, and it fills your heart. Bong. So I don't know, that seems a good thing to know about. I don't know if you want to know that, but, that's what I say. And it's something very warm for me. And so on. I used to get up and meditate thinking, oh God, I got to meditate because my mind's out of whack and I've got to blah, blah, blah. And some stage I realized that's all horseshit, and which is so nice to know. And actually, there's nothing wrong with mind. There's nothing wrong with a heart mind. And when you're meditating without, I don't know, in a way, without seeking anything, without trying to get rid of something, without trying to adjust your mind, it's just there. You're just happy. You can't help that. You can't get away from that. And it doesn't matter if you're in good shape or you feel like you're in bad shape or you're really sick or you're really whatever it is. It's okay. It's okay. Doesn't matter if your hair's standing up on your screen. It's all right. It's gonna be okay. No matter what, it's gonna be okay. It's really wonderful. My hair always stands up on the screen, and there are a lot of things I can do to stop it doing that, but it just does it again. So just letting you know. Here's a rather lovely thing about the worst kind of circumstances, and this is Samuel Taylor Coleridge in The Ancient Mariner, and it's a spiritual moment. He's usually thought of as a very notable British poet, but he only wrote about 3 or 4 poems, maybe they're any good, and this is one of them. And he was a remarkable figure. He helped bring German philosophy into the English-speaking world, and there's a lot going on for Coleridge. And he, like some of the other people, intellectuals at that time, was experimenting with opium. He knew De Quincey, who sort of was a mess and a wreck, which Coleridge wasn't. Coleridge was, went on these long hikes and was a friend of Wordsworth. But the Ancient Mariner has killed an albatross. It's one of those sort of ecological crimes. And the ship the ship was stuck in the ice and far south, and then the wind and the icebergs parted, and they got back to the tropics, and then the wind stopped, and the mariner had killed the albatross because those crazy ideas people get. And the albatross was following them, and they'd fed it, and it had guided them and befriended them, and then he killed it. So what humans do a lot, right? And so, Coleridge said, let's not do that. But here's his thing about what the mariner went through. And then the ship was becalmed in the tropics in the doldrums, and just couldn't move. All the crew are dying from lack of water and things like that. But he is not affected. He lives, but it's a terrible way to live. Beyond the shadow of the ship, I watched the water snakes. They moved in tracks of shining white, and when they reared, the elfish light fell off in hoary flakes. Someone has described a bioluminescence to him, you can tell. And within the shadow of the ship, I watched their rich attire, blue, glossy green, and velvet black. They coiled and swam, and every track was a flash of golden fire. Oh, happy living things, no tongue their beauty might declare. A spring of love gushed from my heart, and I blessed them unaware. Sure, my kind saint took pity on me, and I blessed them unaware. The self-same moment I could pray, and from my neck so free, the albatross fell off and sank like lead into the sea, the corpse of the albatross. Oh, sleep, it is a gentle thing, beloved from pole to pole. To Mary Queen the praise be given. She sent the gentle sleep from heaven that slid into my soul. We wouldn't call him a Christian, but he needed a rhyme for given, and heaven came up. So but there's a tremendous sense of the blessing of the goddess, on that. And so that's something where he saw the beauty of the world, and he trusted it and believed it, and it touched him. And so it cancelled his crimes, his ecological crimes. So, whereas our friend, the dancer, would say, bong, bong, bong. And Coleridge was in the most terrible situation, the most terrible shape, really, there. So, I want to read something by Heaney here. He's always a good person he's always got something good to say. He was often asked about the value of poetry, this is somebody reporting about him, at times of economic recession. But it was at moments of crisis that people returned to the realization we did not live by economics alone. If poetry and arts do anything, they can find your inner life, your inwardness. And this is, of course, what meditation does. You find your inner life, your inwardness. Asked if he would focus on different issues if he was starting out a poet again, he said, this is great, issues aren't necessarily for poetry. It's like your opinions aren't they're not for meditation either. It's a way of becoming what you are meant to be. It's a step towards who you are. That's great, isn't it? It's a way of becoming what you are meant to be. That's what meditation is. And there's lots of other really cool things. And here's the hood. This is a friend gave me this, which it's a classical and kind of depressing Japanese classic. The beginning is not depressing, it's only depressing if you read on. It was about. And then this castle was stormed and everybody was slaughtered. And then this other castle was stormed. Then the Civil War broke out. And, Japan's sense of warfare is probably even worse than England's. It just happened all the time. Or Germany's just happened all the time. But here's the opening sentence of the Hojoki. The flow of the river never ceases, and the water never stays the same. Bubbles float on the surface of pools, bursting, reforming, never lingering. They're like the people in this world and their houses. A bubble, and there's a Diamond Sutra says that we're a flash of lightning, a bubble on the surface of a dream. So stop the sound of the distant temple bell. How can you become one with the world is really the question. Can you not oppose everything that comes up to you and say, I don't like this, I like this? So when you sit down, when I wake up and sit down, I don't have this thought, Jesus, I've got to give a talk in the morning and I'm going to be exhausted and I'm going to be even more foolish than usual. I just go, bong. So, actually, I don't even do that. I just sit down. The vastness has me. That's what happens. The vastness gets hold of you. And it's a great thing to be more, not to be limited by, all these things. The fact that my raksu is always getting sideways or my hair stands up or any of that, So, because that's always happening. That's called life. And when you're really immersed in life, you'll feel, oh, the joy of life. There's a tremendous joy in it. So let it have you. There's no point in holding it off and having opinions about it. That's just what you don't need. You're just here. And it has you and it carries you. That's what the Tao is called, right? The Tao carries you. It's this vast current. Here's a little poem about the difficulties of the world. It's someone called Charles Peake, and I know nothing about this person. But unlike objects, two stories can occupy the same place. Is the title of the poem. Out along the last curve in the brick walk, the grass has begun to green. With the freezing cold and the coming snow, it's certain fate. The freezing cold and the coming snow, it's certain fate. It's like the first noble truth. First, second, and third noble truths. Sickness, old age, and death. So, the freezing cold and coming snow is certain fate. The cranes make the same mistake. Fields of red-capped heads attest their arrival just before the worst blizzard of winter. Just before the worst blizzard of winter makes it impossible to tell the field from the river. And we too have known these mortal mishaps, miscalculated our time, found ourselves out of step, arriving too early, staying on too late. misjudging the nearness, the vengeance of the storm. The cranes, the grass, they tell us, this can go on for millions of years. This can go on for your mistakes can go on for millions of years. So there we are. Now we know millions of years of coming too early, getting caught in the blizzard, and being human, being born, dying, all of that. How do we be born properly? How do we die properly? All of that. So I'm going to ask a few. Jordan, do you have anything you want to say? Trying to get Jordan to talk as well as play beautiful.
Bong.
Say bong, but do you want to have anything you want to say?
I was noticing more than I usually do, maybe because of the koan when Jordan was playing today, how it was just a single happening, that I could feel the, wasn't just that I was sinking into the music, it was that the music was sinking into me. And so there was just one happening of the notes appearing in space, and I could feel the vibration of them in my own mind and my own being. And there was just this one happening. And I was thinking about a friend of mine had a dream about me this week. And when he was telling me the dream, it wasn't clear if it was about me or about him. And that felt like that single happening. Like, yes, it's, and I had a dream about a friend that I miss and I thought could feel missing. And I thought, well, that's just a single happening. There's missing. And how this morning I took a long walk in one of the back trails here, and you can just go for as long as you possibly can. And as I entered the forest, it felt the forest entered me, that same thing you asked earlier, how do we get to oneness? And really, how do we stop blocking oneness, I guess, is the thing. And the leaves are just starting to fall here. And so the deeper you walk into the forest, there are leaves falling in every direction. So you have no idea where they're falling anymore. There's just falling. There's that same kind of thing. Yeah, so I guess that's my version of bong.
It's so great. John Joseph is here somewhere. Pretty sure he's here. You got anything you want to say? Apart from bong? Or even that? There you are.
Yeah, I just so much love this koan, just coming into the city, bong, beautiful. But and the Coleridge, and there's a line in the Coleridge about something about the gentle sleep of heaven slips into my soul, and it reminded me of a dream I had last night that seemed to last most of the night. I was sitting in Doksan line at the Sunday Zen, waiting to see Yamada Kon, and the line was moving along, and then the woman in front of me went in, and so I was just sitting there, and I was kind of just luxuriating in this kind of the sense of vastness and emptiness. And I thought, well, when you go in, what response will you give? And I said, I sort of held up my hands to myself, and I said, not one thing. And I thought, then my voice said, no, you can't give that response. That just go in, and when you go in, you'll find the response. And so I was sitting in line, and then I was sitting in line, and it seemed like for hours during sleep. And then finally, and I was just luxuriating in this beautiful feeling. And finally, I got up and went to the door of the Doksan room, and the liaison was a colleague, a former colleague, teacher who I hadn't seen in a long time. And she was wearing this red sort of Tibetan jacket that was all sort of brocaded, and this beautiful, really beautiful jacket. And I haven't talked to her in years, and I could see that she was doing okay, and that she was studying with Yamada, and I thought that was good. And we didn't exchange words, but then I just moved on, and that was kind of the dream. It was the Doksan of no Doksan, I guess, but and just the Bong of no Bong. So thank you.
Yeah. Michelle Riddle.
Hi. Sometimes I have that, like, oh, there's like 3 things I want to say. What should I say? And they're different. Thinking of bells and meditation, I think it was last Sunday where there was a moment when Tess hit her bell, and I was so transported into sesshin. Like, I was like, oh, I'm in sesshin, and all the feeling of sitting in meditation and the bell. And it was so great. And yeah, I think maybe that's what I want to say, actually. So I had it. It was there, right? And sesshin is coming up. PZI is going to be doing a sesshin, and most likely I won't be there. And there's a longing in my heart, like, I really wish I could be, and I can't be. And yet I am aware, whatever I need, like, kind of like John was saying, I will have it. It will be there. And as it's going to be all right. Awakening is going to be where I am. But if you haven't signed up for sesshin and you want to go, I think there's space. But then the bioluminescence. When I was a small child, I used to live on the East Coast, and my mother lived on the West Coast, and I would fly across the country to see her in the summer for vacation. And we had this tradition, for some reason, for a while. There would be bioluminescence in the ocean in Santa Barbara, just at the time when I would fly in, and we would go down, and we would go stand at the seashore and watch that the bright light every time the waves crashed or something moved in the ocean. And I always thought it was the most amazing thing. And then it stopped doing that, and it's been such a long time. And listening to John talk about it today, it was here for me. So anyway, thanks.
Excellent. Eduardo is here somewhere. I'll find him. Here he is.
Hi. Yeah, I enjoy being inside every one of the sounds of Jordan's guitar. It's beautiful. I felt I was inside them, each one of the sounds, completely involved. Thank you.
Fair enough. And Nicola, are you here? The list says you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
You got anything you want to say? No need, you can just say bong, it seems to be popular.
I sort of, the idea of the temple bell, the distant temple bell, makes me just be in this landscape where there's a distant bell. And it's such a I don't know about the stopping, but I do know about the wanting to walk there. It sort of makes me want to go walking in places where you go from bell to bell. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's a nice thought. Bell to bell. Thank you. I'm the one who's muted. Angela Rockall. You're somewhere in the vicinity of the spring equinox, I believe. Very early in the morning.
My God, are we in the vicinity? The temple bell here has been a series of tremendous gales that just come one after the other, and make the windows creak because of the vacuum they create on the way past. And there are big strips of bark flying 40, 50 feet up, just blown off the trees. But then, as tonight, the other bell is the quiet between them. So just waking up tonight to the quiet and looking out and being able to see the Pleiades just moving on with Orion following. It's extraordinary, that alternation of feeling. It's something like being yelled at for days at a time and then just settling. Really quite amazing. So, yeah.
Excellent.
That's the bell here in Tasmanistan.
Thank you. It's good to remember. John Bennett, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Sure. But what? So yesterday, like Tess, I was out wandering in the leaves, and here in the mountains of Colorado, we're in the absolute epicenter of a really extraordinary autumn. I was wandering up a wilderness valley called Conundrum Creek. I've always loved the name. And wandering through these patches of intense golden changing aspen leaves and deep red ground cover and birds flying by. And when the thoughts slipped away, as they did a few times, and I would have long periods of just walking in stillness, it was this sense of just disappearing into it, like disappearing into the temple bell, or feeling the temple bell and the mountains and the golden colors inside me. Really very much like sitting here today, and very beautiful. And what you said at the beginning, it's all okay. It's so clear that it's all okay. It should be that clear all the time, but it's certainly clear to me that it's all okay when the thoughts drop away and there is just this here right now. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Laura Ferguson, do you have anything you want to say?
I was just thinking about what you said earlier about sometimes the bell isn't us and sometimes we're in the bell, and how that's how I feel about what's happening internally for me, like with any feeling like grief. Sometimes I'm in it and sometimes it's in me. And the words embracing or inhabiting come to mind, but it sounds a little bit like doing. So, all these things are floating around for me.
Thank you very much. That's beautiful. What else? I don't know. It's just wonderful being here. It's makes me happy, makes us all happy. Many of us happy anyway. Thank you very much.